we go. What's good, everybody? From the Ashes We Rise, Black Phoenix Podcast, MC TR. Kicking it with you one more time. What's good, TR?
What up, gang? This has been in January. We're about the end of January, and this stuff, just the news, the crash outs just keep coming. So, and not that I'm happy for the crash outs though, but the streets ain't quiet.
You know, it's not even the crash outs that bother me, TR. It's the people that expect you to crash out with them, and then they
Yes,
get pissed at you when you don't. That's what irks me. But y'all do y'all, man. I'm just peeping game. I'm learning. I'm watching. I'm observing.
yeah. Hey, for real. So, all right, let's get to our first topic. Oh, and then real quick, you know, I feel weird if I didn't mention this, but the Eagles did get their offensive coordinator though, so that's I wish I had a round of applause effect for that though. But the job that's been vacant for a few weeks has finally been filled.
You got that with TR. I'm in basketball mode until June. Actually, I'll pay attention to the NFL draft, and obviously I'm watching Tampa Bay. But no, this
Yeah,
is just basketball mode right here.
yeah, you say basketball mode, but let the Bucks do something wild in the off season. You'll be seeing a different tune.
Well, they didn't. They weren't wild enough, in my opinion. I remember I switched my position. I wanted Bowles out of there. He's coming back. So
Yeah, I was
we already
actually,
off to a bad start, and we might
yeah.
lose Mike Evans allegedly.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that he's returning. I was like, you guys don't got much on the clock, especially if you're, staying with Baker. So something's definitely got to change. But they don't do it there.
Here you
But
go with this Baker stuff again.
no, I'm respectful. I mean, look, when it comes to Jalen Hurts, I think this OC was a bad move. It's a young OC. He was just in the league 2 years ago, and I told you in that group chat that he has one more touchdown than we do. Like we don't play the pros like that, and so this guy's been bouncing around the league. It's important to find the right coach, especially also the offensive coordinator, and that's why I always bring up Baker because if Bowles ain't the guy, then something's got to change between those two.
Here's the thing, though. Since we already here, Jalen Hurts has won a ring. The people I'm looking at crazy right now are Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They ain't won no rings yet.
All right,
So
you're gonna pivot. All right.
no, that's what I'm saying. You putting pressure on him like he hasn't gotten the job done. You could technically call this a down year and hope he bounces back strong next year. However, TR, there was a story that was leaked that a lot of the players are unhappy with Hurts and the special treatment that he's been getting from the coaches and the ownership. So
Yeah.
he started to piss off his teammates too. We might have Russell Wilson all over again.
No, I think it's 100% true about what's going on in the locker room and then how Hurts is carrying himself. So there's definitely a conversation. It shouldn't have taken this long. There should have been people throwing themselves at this job. You got a good defense and you got a strong offense. You got most of the tools coming back. People knew AJ Brown was coming back. AJ Brown ain't going anywhere unless the Eagles get a sweetheart deal. AJ Brown ain't going anywhere at least for another year. So when people bring that up, and I told you this in the chat, I think people in general in the media, they're scared to bring this topic up because of what they did to Lamar Jackson. These are a lot of these sports pundits out there, and kind of what they do with Shedeur Sanders too, because they all put on their capes and they're too scared to criticize a black quarterback. I'm like, no, if this motherfucker sucks, then he sucks. You can have that.
Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Oh man, see, I wish I had the picture on his path to be a Pro Bowl because not only did the sun or the stars, the moons, and the zodiac signs had to be set correctly. They had to go almost back in time just to remedy this. A lot of things had to happen for Shedeur Sanders to get to the Pro Bowl. So the Browns, they definitely on the hook. They on the hook.
For the record, I like Shedeur, but this was not deserved. We're not
like Shedeur Sanders. College Shedeur?
I'm rooting for him, but he did not deserve to go to the Pro Bowl. If you watch any type of football this year, you got to know that.
Man, this guy. All right. Well, let's get to the show. We are going to talk about interesting conversation that took place on Club Shay Shay with Ryan Davis, right? MC, I keep messing up his name, so
Yeah, funny comedian, by the way, real hilarious.
yeah, he is I mean, call his recent stuff though, but he is I would consider him a funny comedian as well too. So
You can also add him to the list of comedians that fell out with Corey Holcomb, but that's a different story.
oh yeah.
He started looking at me as access to like material things.
You were ATM. Now all of a sudden you weren't dad, you were an ATM.
Broke me. Because it was like, I only want to be around him if I can get something out of him.
So let me ask you this. Did you sit down and have a conversation? How did you come to this realization that it was, yes, this is my child, but my child only wants to be around me because of what the access that she has to things, perfume, jewelry, clothes, makeup, whatever the case may be?
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because it's like, it's heartbreaking because it's like, my daughter saved my life. I'm not a very motivated person. And when we went and got that ultrasound and they said it's a girl, I knew I couldn't be a mediocre man anymore because it would affect how she viewed men in general.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So recently, Ryan Davis went on a podcast.
All right, I'm gonna pause it right there.
Yeah, mainly because I couldn't understand what that lady was saying.
Yeah, she got a strong accent. What are your thoughts on what Ryan Davis said about his daughter thinking he's an ATM or only wants to spend time with him, unless she's getting something out of it?
So he was absolutely right by saying that, and I can relate when he said that his daughter saved his life, because I'm in the same. From the minute I saw that first ultrasound, I knew I had to go hard, and I knew I could not fail. That's the one job in life you can't fail, right?
Right.
That being said, how much? And I ask women this all the time, because typically when kids are moving like this, TR, when all they want from you is resources and not to spend time with you as your father, that's typically behavior that's learned from the mother. So the question once again is, how much disrespect is a man supposed to take from his ex and his kids? Like, for some reason, we have this standard where the expectation is you sit there and you take it and you don't stand up for yourself. But what I'm slowly starting to see, TR, is a lot of fathers are pushing back and saying, look, I'm not your ATM. Like, if you want to spend time with me and let's hang out, we can do that. But you're not about to just hit me up and use me every time you need me to put a safety net under you. Like, that doesn't fly anymore, man. And I tend to take Ryan's side on this because he was very open and honest about this. And he even admitted some of his failures. When people throw themselves under the bus, I'm more inclined to believe them because they tend to tell more truthful stories.
Yeah. So here's my thing, okay? And I'm probably in the minority, especially when I saw people talking about this. People definitely, connected to Ryan Davis. And I'm not saying, okay, here's my issue though, okay? The thing with Ryan Davis is that you can talk about your marriage and to some degree maybe your ex and how things went down, how you guys got divorced or whatever. I got a problem because his kid is like 10. I don't think he should not have brought this up. And only because if your kid is like 10 or 11 or 12, and unfortunately, sometimes kids just kind of want stuff out of you. I mean, they're always going to want stuff out of you. And him telling the world that his daughter only wants to spend time with him. I get it. I understand that. But I ain't about to tell the world none of that bullshit. I mean, some of those things you kind of got to keep to yourself, though, because your kid kind of doesn't even really know any better at this moment, though. And maybe the mom is trying to poison the daughter mentally. But the world doesn't need to know the stuff that's going on with the daughter. I don't think we need to know this information. I think if he had just kept it on his wife and telling his wife that, or not his wife, his ex, telling her like, hey, this is problematic. These are some things men need to be aware of. I would understand that. Now, in the respect to like, he's saying his daughter only wants to spend time with him unless he pay for something. I don't know, because Ryan, aren't you on the road a lot? It's hard to build that relationship when you're constantly on the road. And I'm not saying it's like she should. I don't know if he has a strong relationship with his daughter, because to me, that's what it sounds like. If you are on the road a lot, then you're probably not going to have a strong relationship. But I don't know if that equates to she'll only hang out with you if you buy her something, though, because I think most kids, like I said, if your dad is rich, you're probably going to want a lot of things. But just say, hey, we're going to go do something. You don't want to do it, then you don't want to do it, but I ain't giving you any money. Like, these kids will understand. This kind of reminds me of Brian McKnight situation with his kids. He got to a point where he was like, hey, I can't do this anymore. But his kids were grown. Ryan Davis' daughter is like 10 or 11.
Yeah. So it sounds like you don't fully believe what he's selling, TR.
I believe what he's saying has occurred, but he didn't need to tell us. And then he might be overthinking it because, like I said, he is on the road a lot, and he's probably doing, he's not available like most fathers would if they stayed locally. So I can understand why you don't have the strongest relationship with your daughter, but I ain't about to throw her under the bus, especially for the internet. Hell no.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this. It's because on one side of it, you value your privacy, but then the other side of it is, how do other guys who are going through stuff like this, where do they go to deal with this? Where do they go to like get strategies and ideas to deal with this? I believe that parents ultimately, he could take the approach, I'm just going to give her what she needs, not what she wants. You got clothes, you got somewhere to live, your education's taken care of. Okay, cool. Until we get all this worked out, we're going to chill out on the extra video games and the vacations until we sit down and have some bonding father-daughter moment. I don't buy the always on the road argument for a comedian, TR. A good comedian works Thursday through Sundays. A comedian that's still trying to build a name for themselves, they have a similar schedule as an opener, and sometimes they only work Friday to Sundays. So you typically add shows if you see that your stuff is selling out, and that's more days on the road for you. So I'm going to assume at best he's working Thursday to Saturdays or Sundays, which means you got Monday, Tuesday, basically a big chunk of the weekday where you got plenty of chances to spend time with her. I don't want to assume that this is lackluster effort on his part, because I've seen too many times where there's parental alienation with kids.
Yeah.
The mothers get inside their heads and have them thinking all this crazy stuff, and we know how impressionable kids are at an early age. So I'm inclined to think that he's telling a whole lot of truths here.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying I just got more of a problem with him bringing it up, and then also maybe he might be overlooking it though. Let me get back to this video here because there's some more dialogue.
Because what I'm about to say could be considered controversial. But if you don't want your daughter, or more specifically your kids, to look at you as the person that they could get things from, then who do you want them to look at? So for those of you who haven't seen the interview, the comedian Ryan Davis sat down with Shannon Sharpe, and he talks about how his relationship changed once his daughter started looking at him as someone that she can get things from. Now, I have two immediate thoughts. One is that she only wants to be around you if she can get things from you. That probably says something about you.
I don't agree with
number
that.
one. Number two is that it's normal for kids to look at their parents as the people who provide for them. That's not abnormal. But the only wanting to be around you if she can get something from you part is definitely about you and less about her. I'm also tired of Shannon Sharpe doing these interviews because he's not an actual interviewer, where he is biased and his biases show up.
I'm actually okay with Shannon Sharpe doing these videos because then we get we get some dialogue from the people that are on that next tier of income that we probably don't hear, or we do hear from each other, people around us, but we never hear that they run into stuff like that. I don't think this is a question on Ryan Davis's character. I think it's just more so that kids at that age, yeah, they're going to want things. Maybe the mom is saying something, but unfortunately, either you stop doing your job or you you just keep doing what you're doing. And if she don't want to get on board with your program, then that's what it is. Like, I think, what's crazy, when the wife wants to blow up the family, and for example, Tom Brady's situation, if you don't know, they're divorced. Most people know they're divorced. Most people probably don't know why they got divorced, but she wanted Tom to stop playing football. He said he wasn't going to play. Then he went back to play. And then he finds out that she's getting her cheeks clapped by the judo instructor. And then they get a divorce. And she goes on and have a kid with this dude. She's not even married. Tom put in so much work for that family. Now, I get Giselle was already made and everything, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, Giselle was a wife and a mom with Tom Brady. And for whatever reason, no one goes after Giselle. Everyone gives her a pass. She blew up her family. She broke up the family. She was cheating on the family. And all those kids are giving her a pass. And they got kids like, I believe they got kids like 10 or 9. Kids will just get over it. They understand it at some point. And so that's what I'm saying. I think Ryan Leslie might be looking into this a little bit too much, though, because nobody is giving anybody that blows up their family, like the kids, they just kind of forgive for the most part. And sometimes they're more forgiving towards the mom. But I think for the father side, they might be beating themselves up too much, though, because if the daughter is acting like that, then that's, quick remedy is to, hey, we're going to go do something. If you don't want to do it, then that's fine. We'll do something at another date.
First of all, you got me wanting to Google who Ryan Leslie is because you keep calling him Ryan Leslie.
Oh man, I did it again.
Yeah. Number 2,
actually,
I don't have a problem with Shannon Sharp doing these type of interviews. What I'm really looking at, TR, he got a lot of smoke from women on this particular subject, particularly the B-dubs that we know so well. And here's my challenge. I've come to the conclusion that people like when we lie. They like when we say everything is fine. They like when we sugarcoat stuff and we don't tell the truth.
Right.
I think I'm starting to understand that people, like, they'll sit and they'll say they need us to be more emotionally mature, have higher EQ or whatever. But then when we do stuff like this, they don't want to hear it. All they want to do is criticize. So
nobody
you kind of got to take that with a grain of salt, right?
Part of being
That's number 1. Number 2, now that you told me that his daughter is, like you said, she was 10, I'm thinking about this a little bit differently now. This could be something easily as fixable as, I'm wondering if he's the boring parent, right? Because a lot of times kids perceive one parent to be more fun than the other, and that's the one that they want to. That's the one they want to spend more time with. I don't know. I know. Me having an 8-year-old daughter, I know every Saturday morning when I get up, she want to get outside and she want to explore. She ain't trying to sit in the house.
Right.
I'm not saying that that's what he's doing with her, but at some point you kind of got to assess what your kids like to do and step into their world. And I'm wondering if he's doing that. And if he's not, then that might explain why she's more inclined to only want to come around when you're giving her something. Or like I said earlier, the mama could just be feeding crazy stuff into her head.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a combination of both, honestly.
Could barely even want to have the gumption to want to give his daughter $30,000 for a wedding. I refuse to ever watch a podcast episode of him, but I've been seeing that Ryan Davis clip circulating around.
Hold on. Is she taking strays and Shay because he didn't want to cut a $30,000 check for a wedding?
Was that a thing?
I think she started off the clip saying that. She took a shot at Shay saying, this is the same guy who didn't want to cut a $30,000 check for his daughter's wedding.
I don't have to rewind.
And if that's the case, I agree. I ain't cutting no $30,000 check.
And he could barely even want to have the gumption to want to give his daughter $30,000 for a wedding. I refuse to ever watch a podcast episode of him, but I've been seeing that Ryan Davis clip circulate around, and I want to talk about it. Every time a Black man has a daughter, he sees the struggle of his mother that he had to grow up seeing. He sees that and wants to project that onto his Black daughter.
That's not true.
Black men romanticize the struggle that their mothers have had to go through.
That's not true.
It's literally a beautiful fiction tale in their brain. It literally is a beautiful thing that they got to see their mother struggle. They want to turn their Black daughters into the Black mother that they got to experience. That is the reason why they have such a strong aversion to wanting to raise daughters and actually have them be privileged and spoil them. And also, a lot of it has to do with these Black men don't like how they look. And if their daughter looks like how they look, they're going to have a hard time giving to that daughter because
If
there
you
is
really
one
want to
Black
have the
celebrity.
conversation about not liking how you look, you're not going to win that conversation. Stop it. Just stop it, man.
So, okay, a couple. She says some out of pocket things.
Go ahead.
What are the first things that a lot of pro athletes do when they get that first big check? They take care of mom.
They usually buy their mom and their grandma a house.
Yeah, they take care of grandma. They take care of mom. I know Shannon Sharp did that for his grandma. I forgot what he said about what happened to his parents though, but I know his grandma was pretty she raised them essentially. Him and I forgot his brother's name, but Sterling. There you go. Anyways, that part isn't true. Black men, men and Black men in general, in this particular situation, they do not want to see their kids, their daughters, especially their daughters, struggle. If anything, they don't want their daughters to be with a freaking bum. They don't want their daughters to be they don't want the things that they did in the streets, the father did in the streets. They don't want somebody doing that to their daughter in the streets. And they know what, the things that when they start going down a certain path, they know the type of tension, they know the type of men start lurking around their daughters. So I don't know why she thinks they want to do the struggle and what part of women today are doing the struggle? Women might be okay with the 50-50 for a little bit, but they ain't doing the struggle. In most cases, they're not doing the struggle. Now, they want some, some homosexual bummy dude, then maybe they might do it, but they ain't doing it long term.
So this chick sounds crazy. I'm gonna extend her an olive branch before I prove to you that she's nuts in the head, though. 20 to 25 years ago, she may have been able to make that case because I know a lot of people, TR, that are in love with being a victim. We talked about trauma bonding before in the past. You get a whole bunch of us together and we start bragging about who had the hardest childhood, who's the toughest person on the block, dumb stuff that just don't make any sense anymore, right? So, but that's not the case today. I know a lot of men that I personally know want their kids to do better than them, want their kids to learn the lessons from their L's. I've never met anybody, at least not in the like we're millennials technically. I've never met a millennial that wanted their kids to do worse than them. That's like Gen X and baby boomer behavior where they're jealous of their kids. I don't see much more of that nowadays. That's number one. Number two, she cannot have the audacity to get on these podcasts and say that Black men don't like their kids to look like them when literally our biggest complaint about y'all is the disguises that y'all wear.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like men haven't said this before. It's just every time we say it, they send the gaslight and say, you don't really mean that. I'm like, okay, all right, I don't really mean that. Whatever. I don't know where she got that from. But in terms of people not wanting their children to look like them, that's a counterproductive argument because if they have your DNA, they're going to look like you.
Yeah.
Well, she sounds crazy saying that.
It's always easy to say, Black men insert some slanderous statement. I don't know why she picked this up out of Ryan Davis, because when it comes time to whenever they have these conversations about Black men talking about families, it's always a tightrope. And that's why and again, I'm not saying you got to get into the weeds with your family, but if you want to say something about marriage and how your relationships went, that's a good conversation. Most men need to know stuff about this. But when it comes to any type of other conversation, if they don't stay on code, they don't praise the mother, because we saw what happened with Brian McKnight. Everyone had this whole narrative about Brian McKnight that he was a POS, and come to find out, the mom was purposely alienating the kids. Well, they weren't really kids for the most part because they were almost adults. They were like, I think they were in their 20s, and they were still listening. They were still under the mom's control, still under the mom's spell, and she was the one that caused the separation in the family. And you know what Brian McKnight went and did? He went and got him a whole new wife, and he made a whole new junior, and that pissed everybody off. And I ain't got a problem with Brian McKnight doing. Look, you get out of pocket, you out the wheel, and I'll make another one.
Another thing, TR, there's one group of men that she's probably right about, and you call them out all the time. I'm surprised you didn't bring it up tonight. Son husbands.
Oh yeah,
because by definition, those are men where the mother has turned him into a husband. They've given him all the responsibilities of a husband, but none of the benefits. So they might be used to seeing their mother suffer and deal with trauma, and they might take pride in it, but that's backwards thinking. And I'm telling you right now, if you are a son husband, you need to sever that relationship. You need to go find you a real wife. You were designed to eventually leave your parents and form your own family. And that's how you need to shift your mind state, because son husbands are counterproductive to society, not just Black society, but society in general.
Yeah. And if she's talking about, if she had approached it like this, whenever, remember KD's speech, like you the rim MVP, blah, blah, blah. And then you got LeBron James. And I'm not saying their moms didn't help them or anything, but when they are speaking of their moms, and I mean this in a respectful way, when they're speaking of their moms, that's pretty much what they're highlighting, the struggle that their moms went through without their fathers for why they're not there. That's who they're talking about. And so why would he? I guarantee you, LeBron James would not want his daughter. Wait, does LeBron James have a daughter? He has a daughter, right?
He does.
Yeah,
he does.
I promise you, he would not want his daughter to follow in the footsteps of his mother. He wants his daughter to follow in the footsteps of Savannah James. That's who LeBron James wants his daughters to follow in the footsteps of. So miss me with this bullshit, because, and I'm surprised she did not get called out for this. When people bring stuff up like this, I mean, like I said, it's either go after Ryan Davis, but that's all they do. They don't go after anyone else, especially the people that are reacting to these type of conversations.
I always tell men to be cautious with women like this too, TR, because to find a woman who truly cares about how men feel and what they think, it's hard. It's a lot harder than it sounds. Like this woman is just dismissive of she seems to be very dismissive of Black men in general. And I'm starting to see that this problem is spreading outside of the Black community. I talk about this all the time. This stuff like this is becoming a Western problem, not a Black one.
Facts.
So Ryan Davis went on the Shannon Sharp show and unprovoked, mind you, proceeded to throw his 11-year-old daughter under the bus by saying that she only calls him now when she wants something, and that while she used to be a daddy's girl, now she's materialistic, and has essentially called his 11-year-old daughter a gold digger. Now, I'm not going to get into all of my thoughts on the matter because I'm hopping on a podcast with my girl Lil Lo to talk about it in depth. But one topic that I want to discuss based on this conversation is the way that some Black dads will escape their own accountability through the adultification of their daughters. And because instead of atoning for and taking responsibility for your role and why your daughter now only sees you as a wallet, you position it as it's her fault. You didn't do anything wrong. She just up and only wants you for your money, and that's it. As if she's a grown-ass woman and not an 11-year-old child responding to the precedent you probably set. So you
I'm
adultify
getting
her.
irritated with this. Pause this for a second. Let's talk about the adultification of daughters for a minute. Since she said it's the fathers that are doing this. Men listening in the chat, men who are going to watch this later, and TRU too. Let's take a quick survey. If you grew up with a young girl who had a fake ID as a minor that would show she was an adult, put a hand up. Okay, we're going to move on from that. If you ever went to high school with a young lady who got picked up by somebody who was in college or older in their car instead of getting on the school bus, put your hand up. If you ever went to a high school and you saw a young lady walk in one way, change clothes in the bathroom, and come out dressed like a thot and twerking and being a hood as soon as her parents pull off, put a hand up.
Yep.
if we're gonna sit here and have the conversation, let's have the conversation. The fact of the matter is, most of y'all made yourself into adults, and you put yourself in adult situations. That ain't got nothing to do with your father, because your father probably would have told you to do the opposite.
They continue to do it.
Turning daughters into adults. Man, get out of here with that mess.
Yeah, I will say, it probably gets some help from. They don't just do it themselves. They get help from people around them. There's no father. Most fathers are. I would think most fathers try and keep their daughters, pure and young, but you can't do that, especially if you have a split household. However, when you have the moms getting involved and not, if you guys aren't on the same game plan on how to raise a daughter, that's how they become an adult. That's when they start doing all that fuck shit, because ain't nobody watching them. Because the fathers know, like, hey, you up to something, and I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna be watching you like the CIA. We're gonna make sure that you don't get yourself in trouble. Don't be bringing no boys over here. They call over here, they getting cussed out. So yeah, when it comes to adultification, or with kids, for the most part, though, a lot of times it happens in these one households, and it's not the single father households it's occurring in. That said, like I said earlier, Ryan Davis should not have brought this out, though, because it opens the door for this type of blame towards him. And again, I don't think he was even trying to air his daughter out like that, though. He should not have said it. And like I said, she was 11 years old, and I think kids just act like that for the most part, though. I feel like he's exaggerating a little bit, though. But I was like, why are you doing this on Shannon's podcast?
And this is further proof, TR. This is why it's hard for me to subscribe to a woman's leadership. Because if we're being completely honest, we know, especially if you are a Black American, more than likely you grew up in a house where it was matriarchal led. There was no father. Your mother was the head of the house. And everybody wants to call themselves the leaders, TR, until it's time to dish out accountability.
We are back in Minneapolis.
Yeah, when it's time for shit to go down, exactly.
If shit goes wrong, and the leader should be the first one to say, hey, this messed up because of me. They don't want to do that.
Right.
All they want to do is just defend the sisterhood, man. The sisterhood is more important than everything else. And as long as that remains true, we cannot repair the family structure. The family should be the most important thing, not the sisterhood.
Hey, build your own tribe, gents.
Thanks.
So, all right, we are going to jump to a story that's been trending, and it's starting to die down a little bit, though. But, when I saw this, MC, I was actually a bit concerned that this is where politics has been getting out of hand for the last 2 years. And I was like, man, like, I don't think Illhan Omar is a good person, but I don't want someone to throw acid on her. And turns out the thing that was the liquid that was thrown on her was like apple cider vinegar. So I don't know where to go with some of this stuff though, because now they're trying to paint it as this was a Trump supporter, or this is politically motivated, though. And it's like she got out like pretty easy, like it was only apple cider vinegar. You can't say the same thing about Trump. You can't say the same thing about Charlie Kirk. Like, those were serious events. But when they push politics the way it is, I'm not surprised that, this is people start becoming part of the news.
Right.
And even in the 45 minutes that we've been out here in the sub-zero temperatures on Nicollet Street, there has been
Genome must resign.
It's okay, according to Mayor Jacob Fry. Joining me now, MS Now senior political. Let's take a listen.
BS Now.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign, or
Thank God the men were there. Damn, he got pushed.
Joining me now, MS Now senior political analyst Alex Wagner. Also,
all right, we ain't got time for their bullshit. MC, thoughts? get a crack into this.
Well, like you said, TR, I'm not a fan. I don't trust her, but nobody deserves to be treated like that over some things that they say or they believe. That's number one. Number two, I see she was being kind of reckless too because she needs to let security do her job. She saw the threat first and she decided to run towards it. That's not your job
Thank
to do
you.
that.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, you should have moved out of the way and let security do their thing. Your security is inept, by the way. I suggest you fire your chief of staff or
there was
light a fire under them to get a better security team around you. And number three, TR, this proves what I've suspected. Tim Walz and whoever the governor of Minneapolis is, they have no type of control in that city.
Oh, I mean, Tim Walz, the governor, but Mayor Fry.
Okay, I don't think they have they don't have any control over Minneapolis. They really don't. I mean, I believe wholeheartedly that the daycare fraud thing is a legit story, and I've not seen them respond to that in any type of significant way. We know about the uprisings and violence. We know Minneapolis has turned up before when they don't like what's going on in their city. So we know they down with the business when it comes down to it. But there's no control here. There's none. We've seen them terrorize and destroy neighborhoods and stores, and there's just been no type of response. And it at very best, there's mediocre leadership right now in Minnesota, it seems.
Yeah. I'll tell you this much, though. Honestly, I thought it was kind of staged. And I only say this because when the guy getting up, I know some people say it looks like she may have given him a heads up or something. I didn't see it. So I don't know if it's really, there's something there that happened. Like she orchestrated it. But what I will say is that it's her actions after, and then after the initial spray, and then she doesn't want to go and like, she doesn't know what that liquid is. She doesn't want to go get checked out. And not to mention, what about the people around there? If somebody sprays something on you, I'm not going to be near you. I barely want to be near people when they get a cold. And she wanted to stay there and continue to say her little speech about the Trump administration. This is crazy. Like me personally, if somebody did that, yeah, I would fight. But she don't got to fight. She got people for all that. So that's why I think it's a little staged. Something weird happened here. I'm not going to say as far as like she wasn't involved, but considering the history, with the marriage certificate that she has, and then also what goes on in some I almost said Somalia, what goes on in Minneapolis, I wouldn't be surprised that she's trying to distract and gain and garner sympathy, because the news media is definitely trying to give her sympathy. Like when she tried to punch the guy, I'm like, what were you going to do?
Yeah.
Like most I was to say most adult women don't have the strength like that. They punch like a 12-year-old boy.
She wasn't going to do anything.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy, man.
And here's why I'm looking at the security team crazy. Typically when something like this goes down, security is like, oh no, you're done. We're leaving. Because you have to assess the situation to see if there's another person here. Yeah. You don't know how skilled and how trained this person was.
That's a good point.
And the fact that she even stayed is to me, I'm looking at security crazy. And only reason why I know this is I've done security for churches before. Like when tithes and stuff were collected, we were moving large amounts of money, and I have to be there standing right next to the pastor when stuff goes crazy, right? So I'm looking at security crazy. And for what it's worth, people are going to try to make this political. The U.S. Department of Justice have already said that they're going to hit him with felony assault. So the DOJ, who's by proxy linked to Trump, is going to do their job, and they appear to be wanting to make sure that this person was brought to justice. So you can't even argue that Trump is going to make this a political thing.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Like, why didn't your security pull you? Why didn't they get you out of there? You don't know if there was a second or a third person in the audience. And what if they would have hit you with something a little more, something that was acidic, or something that was that could have hurt other people around you?
They confirmed he had a syringe too.
Yeah, and the black woman who was pretty much saying like, "Hey, you should probably go get your clothes checked. We should get out of here." She's like, "Nah, we're good." I'm like, the one time y'all tell us to listen to black women, y'all don't listen to a black woman telling y'all there's some fucked up shit that just happened, And we should probably just end the meeting in this town hall meeting right now. And everybody just sitting there like a bunch of idiots, like, oh no, we're good. We'll just sit here, because you don't know what else is going to go, whatever's going to happen. Because obviously security is not on their shit. That dude got all the way up to her and he walked away untouched.
Never should have got that close.
Yeah, for at least 3 seconds.
Yeah, and also when you have these senators and these politicians they usually do some type of due diligence and background checks on who you are before you can even enter that building. So what I'm going to be watching over the next couple of days is if this assaulter has another record, has been charged with anything else. Because if that's the case, that's another miss on the security team's part. I'm looking at all of this suspiciously. I'm not going to say it was staged, but I also don't trust her enough to believe. Everything's in play right now, TR. I've seen too much political violence. Minneapolis ain't the safest place right now. So I'm looking at a lot of information and I'm kind of holding judgment, but I'm at least being fair about it, because I've said I don't like her as a politician. I think she's anti-American, and I think she wants America to fail while she's sitting in a government office, which is weird, but I guess.
Yep. All right. We are going to stop on that one, and we're going to pivot to another crash out. At least, this type of crash out, though. I've been seeing a lot of these crash outs, and I'll tell you this much, man. White liberal women, they're having a tough year. White liberal men too, but a lot of these liberals, they are having a tough year, and I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know if they need to get on a couch. I don't know if these liberal men need to take some testosterone because they got some zestosterone in their system. They got to do something different, because the way that some of these people are losing their jobs, the way that they're, getting arrested and losing their life. This is, look, I understand you may not like the election, but you got to move on. And you can't put your families, you can't put your livelihood in jeopardy. You can't put your family in jeopardy. Like, we tell people all the time, do not be getting involved in some bullshit. And these people run to the bullshit, or they say some out-of-pocket stuff, especially with the Charlie Kirk incident, or the what happened with him. These people, they rush to get online, and they rush to be the first ones to get their the sniggles in about Charlie Kirk, and they're still doing stupid shit like this. And so this is a video of this is a nurse. Like, we're at that point where you can't tell people your political ideology. I mean, not that it should come up though, but you definitely can't wear those. You can't wear a MAGA hat into the doctor's office now, because you don't know if your nurse is going to crash out, or I don't think the doctor will crash out, but I can't put it past anyone. If you're liberal, you have a 80% chance of crashing out, and all because somebody wore a MAGA hat. You there, MC?
Yeah, you're better. And I hate that it's come to this, because one of the things that really irritates me, TR, is the fact that we can't exchange thoughts politically. But you're right. You have to really be mindful about what you're wearing and where you are. You just can't talk about politics in certain places. That's what it's come to. But what comes with that is people that's going to privately resent you, and they're going to say one thing publicly and vote another way privately. So that's the society y'all wanted. So you have it.
Yep.
Making headlines, a Boca Raton nurse fired over comments she made outside of work is now pushing back. At the same time, Florida's Attorney General is moving to revoke her license and is also taking action against another nurse over their remarks. The situation raising questions about free speech and professional standards in healthcare. CBS 12 reporter Katie Benty is live tonight over in Palm Beach County with the breakdown.
Well, Jim, this Boca Raton nurse continues to speak very publicly online, but Lexi Lawler has declined comment to CBS 12 News. And because of the profane and graphic language, we did censor much of what you're about to hear.
They murdered a man in Minnesota, and you motherfucker coming after me because I use bad language. You.
That's Lexi Lawler, the Boca Raton labor and delivery nurse fired after a viral TikTok. She's now responding to the backlash.
I'm on the right side of this. You.
Jeez.
Lawler lost her job at Baptist Health Boca Raton Regional Hospital after posting graphic comments about pregnant White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt.
I hope that you rip from bow to stern and never normally again, you.
Her husband has since launched a GoFundMe calling the firing
Her cuck husband.
retaliation for political speech and raising money for a possible lawsuit. But legal experts say free speech has limitations in some workplaces.
The private employer, there are no First Amendment rights.
Lawler isn't alone. In the past year, healthcare workers in Kentucky, Georgia, and Virginia have been fired over controversial political posts. Now, a Miami nurse is also under scrutiny. Eric Martindale denies a post alleging that he would refuse care to MAGA supporters. Still, Attorney General James All
right, that's the gist of that. MC, we're in the timeline, like I said earlier, where you can't even have these, you can't even bring up politics anywhere because people are going to spit in your food. They're not going to give you adequate medical treatment, which is crazy because you would think with these hospitals, they would, I know they have these conversations about, hey, don't do any stupid TikToks. Also, don't do any stupid political messages on there. You get on there and you make us look bad, you're getting fired. And not to mention, I almost feel like anyone that's been treated, and if I'm a lawyer, somebody who's been treated, I would say, hey, if you've been to this hospital and you identified as being a right wing or a conservative, and maybe you had some type of accident or some serious issue happen, you might be entitled to a lawsuit. This is what these hospitals, they want to step in. They won't let these people do these stupid TikToks and post on social media, and they know they're opening themselves up to lawsuits. This is. And then she said the worst thing you could say about a pregnant woman other than, deletion. She said, I hope you have, like, they call it a fourth grade tear. Probably one of the worst situations that could occur to you as a new mom, or she's on her second kid actually. But yeah, and this is not making the news. You're not gonna. I had to find this out through like two other channels. They're not gonna push this and tell these people like, hey, don't be stupid. But when it comes to that whole thing about ICE, they got all the conversation to, they have all the airtime to air those type of conversations out.
Let me come off mute first of all. This reminds me of the story we did late last year. You remember the female employee, the supervisor that was telling her team not to send funds and support people that voted for Trump?
Vaguely.
Yeah, it was in North Carolina when they were North Carolina and Florida. It was Hurricane Milton. FEMA was supposed to distribute funds to those people in those areas, and she purposely told them to skip over the MAGA houses.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
You cannot have these people working in professions like this. It's one thing if you state your political opinion and say that you disagree, but for you to wish harm on a pregnant woman's childbirth. And then that second nurse they just showed, who is on the record saying he will not treat anybody that's MAGA. This is turning into gang culture, TR. This is absolutely turning into gang culture. Like when you want to, like, it's going to start off you wishing to see them die, to you actually taking action about that. And that's the final destination of all of this. And this is why I will stand on the heels to the end of time and say TDS is very real. That chick has TDS.
Yeah.
And political hatred is very real. And this is why I do not emotionally connect myself to politics, because y'all ready to crash out over things that are cyclical. At some point Trump's term is going to be up. Now, some of your party gets their stuff together. You may have a second chance to go in and correct some things, but more than likely you're not, because you're isolating people and kicking them out of your party. And now the independents, the people registering independent, are at an all-time high because they also realize how crazy you all are. You're nuts. You can't be trusted. And this is why you can't talk politics. Imagine if somebody who's a MAGA supporter goes in and he needs a triple bypass or something, and the doctors and the nurses say they're going to take it easy and not follow a full procedure. Now you're talking about a potential murder, TR. This is getting ridiculous, man.
Exactly. Yeah. And they'll help. If somebody comes into the ER and they're a gunshot victim, or maybe they were shooting and the police shot them, they will operate on that person without even hesitation. They will operate. They don't know what this guy did. They don't know, if he was the bad guy, good guy. They don't know any of that, but they will operate them. But you go into the ER with a MAGA shirt on. Hey, you know what? Break time. We're good. We don't need to do anything here. They'll just let you die on the table. So, and when we see lawyers and judges sign off stuff like this, I don't know how any defense lawyer, I don't know how they're not getting these cases retried, because we have a lot of lawyers and judges that are tipping their hand, that are pretty much telling you where they side politically. These people are compromised. These people are supposed to serve the people. We pay them. They serve the people. And then they are telling us that, hey, if you are on this side, then especially with the ICE protests, because a lot of them have been going after the ICE officers and calling them all types of things, which, you know who we haven't heard about, the ICE officers, how they're being called the Gestapo and everything else. We haven't heard from the ADL. I ain't heard from one person that is Jewish, who-ish, go out there and be like, hey, you guys are going too far. You're going too far with this rhetoric. You are saying too many things in regards to what happened to us at the Holocaust. You're equating that to what's happening to with ICE and the illegal immigrants. Not even close. But that's the type of rhetoric that they're using in politics. And then it's also the same rhetoric that they're using on social media. Like back in 2020, you couldn't say anything about the jab. You had to give it code names. You had to call it the Rona. You couldn't say anything about 2020. And if you did, it was mainly people that were conservative, because they were like, this whole mask thing is stupid. Those were the people getting banned. But on social media nowadays, Mark Zuckerberg, on X, you really can't get away with that because everybody will flame you. But on on Facebook and Instagram, they're on tap. They'll let you do anything. And don't ever go on fucking Reddit. You'll get smoked on Reddit if you don't have the same hive mentality on that social media platform.
So let me tell you how bad this political game mentality is getting to your. Do you know who Nicholas Irving is?
Sounds familiar.
Black dude. He is a retired Army Ranger, highly decorated, highly skilled with the shits, right? He did an interview, actually just a couple of days ago. Somebody asked him what would happen if the U.S. and China went to war. Do you know what his response was? There would be no U.S. And he gave a lot of different reasons for it, but one of the things that he called out in particular was this: we're at each other's throats so bad right now that half of this country it almost seems like they're kind of rooting for this country to fail, right?
They wanted to fail, yes.
Meanwhile, Chinese people are China first, and they know that and they understand that.
Yep.
China has been caught before with secret police stations in the United States and Canada policing Chinese Americans, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Stay on code.
They will tell their citizens, hey, we need more doctors. You're going to go to medical school. Y'all need to figure that out. We need a stronger basketball team. You're going to breed with her and create a Yao Ming and be on the China team. So they're on one accord. They may be extreme with a couple of things, but they understand what comes first. And we're doing all this infighting. He gave a whole bunch of other different reasons too, but I found it interesting that a former Army Ranger who's a decorated sniper and highly respected would make a statement like that. But all that tells me, TR, is this game mentality with politics is now escalating to the armed services of the United States government, which is a huge problem.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, and we talked about this in our group chat. We had there were teenagers, kids that were doing the ICE protests, and one of these kids got hit by a car because you're in the wrong spot. And the other thing is that a lot of times people are. I tell my daughter this all the time, especially driving, because sometimes she has she's starting to rack up some speeding tickets. So
oh man.
I tell her this. I'm like, look, at the end of the day, do not let stupid people distract you, because when stupid people distract you, then you're going to do something stupid, though, because that person who probably thought it was going to be funny if he goes to that protest and egg these people on, and he ends up hitting somebody. It was a hit and run at that. So I mean, he made the situation. If he had stayed there, I think he would have been given the benefit of the doubt. But since he didn't stay there, and he probably thought he was going to get mobbed. The driver probably thought he was going to get mobbed, I bet. which I can understand, like maybe turn himself in a little bit later. But now that you hit that person and it's all over news, and the news is painting it one way, they're acting like this person just drove into these students. And that's not what happened. These people are deranged, and it's trickling down to the kids. And you have these adults who are, I mean, pretty much they're not giving them any pushback, but they're also enabling these kids to go out there and protest and obstruct traffic. And so that's why that girl got hit. If you watch the entire video, you will see that she ran towards the car as the car was moving, accelerating, and got hit. So like, you're an idiot. You should not have been there. But the guy should not did hit and run, and he's probably gonna get charged, I bet.
Hey, salute to her for getting her license, by the way. I was reading the other day that Gen Z doesn't want driver's licenses. I think only 30% of them have driver's licenses as of 2022. So different story for a different day. This is just a reminder, because I know we're going to get a little bit of smoke for this conversation, but here's the ultimate trump card, for lack of a better term. Florida is an at-will employment state, which means they can fire you for almost any reason that they want to.
Exactly.
They probably, and clearly, I don't know if she didn't know that or if she knew that and didn't care. I hope that whatever soapbox that you're standing on was worth it. And I hope that your family has savings in place, because I don't know if it was worth it for you to go on a social media platform and basically threaten the unborn child of the White House press secretary.
Right.
This is just a further proof that things are just getting y'all weird out here, man. Y'all really weird.
You know what else is crazy though? I don't know if you've seen this on your timeline, but what I'm seeing is a lot of people that they don't own firearms. They got a lot of cats. They work a 9 to 5, but they be typing the hardest. They got the most to say. They've been calling ICE agents everything under the sun, and I'm like, how come you ain't in Minnesota right now? How come you ain't at those protests? Matter of fact, what the hell did you do during 2020? Did you get arrested? Did you get a pepper ball to the face? Did you get maced? No, these people ain't did a goddamn thing when it comes to protesting, but they type the hardest. They get a battery in their back. They're on their phones. They're on their computers, typing the most. And they would never risk their kids. They would never tell their kids to go out there and protest with those idiots. They would never risk. They would not tell their elderly grandma or mom to go out there and protest with all the other idiots that are out there. If you want peaceful protest, I don't care. But that's not what's happening. These people are blowing whistles 24/7. And which, you know what's funny, MC? When we were growing up in our town, there was a noise ordinance. If you played your music too loud, you were getting a ticket. There's got to be a noise ordinance. I'm saying the wrong word. Whatever. They gotta be violating some law, blowing all those goddamn whistles. I don't know why they're not getting arrested for that. I don't know why that should be disturbing the peace. And if I'm somebody that's been arrested recently for something like that, I would say like, hey, we got to appeal this. They letting these people do all types of crazy shit, and I get in trouble because I was playing my music loud. Nah, we got to work this out, because the police aren't doing their jobs and they're expecting the ICE officers to do their jobs, and then that's why we're having the confrontations that we're having now. Tom Holman is, in Minneapolis right now though, so hopefully things will ratchet it down. Hopefully Tim Walz has sacrificed enough Americans to, kind of bring in the Minneapolis PD, which I saw that they did that though, but who knows how long that's going to last.
Here's the other thing, TR, and I will caution this to any of you anti-ICE protesters out there, because the exact same thing happened to be on them. They're going to send paid people to infiltrate your protests and get y'all riled up. You need to be mindful of that. They are literally banking on you being emotional and illogical, and they're going to send somebody in to put a battery in your back.
Right.
See, I remember 2 weeks ago, the last time we talked about ICE, and I like to address the haters sometimes. This is a pretty good time to do it. We got a 52-year-old white liberal that lived in Arkansas, right? It's a long essay. And there were parts of the essay where he tried to lecture us on what being black was. Like, like, look at us. You think we're not familiar with that? But this is what they do. This is why I get so irritated with liberals, because that's kind of they basically expect you to fall on the sword for causes that don't really have a whole lot to do with you. And if you don't do it, they'll try to insult you and lecture you and kind of talk to you in a condescending way. And that don't mean anything to me. Y'all cooked.
Hey, Brando's back. Yeah, I agree. A lot of times you go to these protests, you don't know how shit's going to go down. You don't know if somebody's going to crash out. You don't know if somebody is going to, ram their car into the crowd. You don't know how the police are going to respond. You don't know a lot of this stuff. People were surprised back in 2020 when they were catching pepper balls to the face. Like, I knew someone that, it was a white dude. He went to the damn protest. I'm like, what are you protesting for? Like, what are you really protesting for? What are you mad about? And these motherfuckers, they don't ever have an answer. Like, this is just mad. What I think it is just a lot of these people are losers, and they never amounted or they never achieved something in life. And this is the way that they're going to achieve something in life. That Alex Petti guy, we're going to get into him though. I got questions like, is this the guy you want your daughters to marry? Is this the guy that you want in your family? This guy was completely unhinged. And his family knew he was
and I told this story before, Brando. You'll appreciate this. Actually, I'm being sarcastic. So the first year I moved to Arizona, I went to a BLM protest. They were protesting outside of a TI concert, right? So I go. And my goal was to simply just see what's going on. Like, what are y'all protesting about? What are we trying to accomplish, right? At the time, there was somebody locally who got shot and killed by the police, but evidence came out, etc. But that never came up, right? So I'm talking to the people there. I'm there with my wife, and I'm like, okay, what's up? What are we protesting? Maybe I can, if it's the right cause, I'll jump on. Why are we protesting at a TI concert? I couldn't get a straight answer, right? And the more I started talking to them, the more I was like, there's no plan here. There's no goal. They just want to stir stuff up.
Yeah.
So I got up out of there, man. I'm like, no, I cannot attach myself to stuff like this anymore, man. I got a wife and a daughter to get on to. I got other things I gotta do.
MC, they all do.
They acting like they don't.
That Renee Good or whatever her name was, she should her wife, she's to blame for this. She put a battery in her back and told her to do something, and shit went down.
That's typically how it goes. So the liberals have been completely hijacked by extreme white liberal ideology, and it's mainly the women. Like the liberal men, I have very little respect for anyway. You don't have, especially if you're heterosexual, you have no voice in that party. I don't even know why you're still there. But it's easy to see who's in charge, who's calling all of these illogical and emotional shots, right? It's very easy to see. And again, once you look through all of that and you see what's really going on, which at the end of the day is a whole lot of nothing. And again, I'm not trying to be, I'm sympathetic, right? But until somebody tells me why can you, in a logical way, tell me why you would substantiate and support somebody who skipped over the point of entry and came here illegally? Why do you think that we have the resources to support all of these people? We can't even support the ones who are here legally. Yeah. Once we have that conversation, if you can explain it in a way to me that makes sense, then maybe I'll open my mind up a little bit. But none of them can answer that question.
Yeah,
none of them.
And they don't want to open up their homes. They don't want to, be a sponsor for some of these immigrants that are coming to the country. They never want to sponsor them. They don't want to do any of that stuff for any of those people. They just want to get on the keyboard. They just want to, hey, I want to, I'm going to put something on social media. That's all they do. And they ain't really about this life. They don't want to do anything. They be typing the hardest. But again, like I said, I mean, there was this girl that, she's a good person. And, but she just had a crash out over this stuff. And I'm like, you just had a kid. Are you going to these protests? Is your husband going to these protests? No, none of you are going to a protest. You don't even live by any of these people. You live far out, in a different part of town where it's a income situation. So you don't even see any of this stuff. She's probably never seen a police officer in her neighborhood. Like these types of people, they want to like motivate everybody, but they don't want to do shit. And it's I don't know how many people got to continue to crashing out though, but apparently we haven't hit that number yet. Hopefully the police start cooperating. But I just saw that the Chicago mayor, he about to wind his people up though. So hopefully, I know a lot of people still, especially black people, I know y'all still support him, but he about to screw y'all over with this budget coming down the pipeline. The city budget.
He's raising taxes. And Danielle Carter, the Flip Chicago Red lady, she warned y'all that he was going to do that. Yep. Matter of fact, they blocked it twice, but he still got it through.
Yep.
And the same thing is going to happen in Virginia with that governor that just won. We just talked about that. She's already talking about raising taxes.
New York, they're all raising taxes, and they're going to blame Trump. And then you motherfuckers are going to be paying like 1,000% on your property taxes. So enjoy, idiots.
So one more thing for these liberals, and maybe one of y'all can be mature enough to answer this question, right? I assess risk for a living. Essentially, TR, they're asking you to go stand on the front lines with them. We're in a situation where you could potentially go to jail, you could lose your job, or you can die.
Yep.
If that's not the ultimate risk, I don't know what is. So I need you to explain to the people who are independents or conservative why this is a risk that's worth it. Make that make sense for me to risk being away from my family for this cause.
No, I need them out there asking people, why are they out there? Like, let's start there. Ain't none of them, everyone that's ever asked that question or they're trying to like paint ice in a certain way, they ain't never been to any of the protests. I ain't seen them go live one time.
Yeah, I think I got one person in my timeline that's had protests every single day, but I also know that she's a manager at a company. And I'm like, when are you going to lose your job? Are you like, are you burning your PTO? Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you attending all of these protests? I don't know.
They got the money apparently. So
yeah.
All right, we're gonna go to something a little bit light. We're gonna talk about Cameron and his ex. And MC, do you know why she was on the show? I don't know why she was there.
I don't know, man, because I know anytime you sit down with an ex, it's a risk. I have no desire to interview any of my ex. y'all do y'all, and I'm gonna do me.
Hey, that's hilarious. All right. Well, anyways, let's take a look.
I'm just used to a man in my life, especially one who's intimate with me, automatically wants to step into leadership and provision and want to protect and provide for me. Kim has never given me those vibes.
Yeah. You got a boyfriend right now, Kelly?
No.
Exactly.
Why does that matter? Do you have a girlfriend right now, Kim?
I don't need nobody to protect and provide for me. I'm not looking for that. I'm just trying
You're
to
a
say.
man. I wouldn't expect that.
I'm just trying to say.
You see how she tried to turn that?
I don't even think she understood what Cam just said right there. She's arguing from a space where men and women have the same expectations and are equal. We've proven time and time again that's not the case. That question was irrelevant to Cam because Cam ain't looking for a woman to protect and provide for him. She's looking for a man to protect and provide for her.
We just watched Illhan Omar almost get rushed, and the dude didn't get touched for a few seconds. And after he got touched, he was touched by her security staff. She needed protection, and she's a senator.
I bet you her husband was hiding behind somebody else. That's let me stop.
Yeah, he was.
That this is the thing that you think that
actually strike that. I think she's a congressman.
Because you're dating somebody, like for instance, right? Give you an example.
So as a woman, if I share my body with a man, I shouldn't expect him to want to protect and provide for me. Is that what you would teach your fucking daughter?
The problem, I'm not having sex with my.
They always go to that too. Anytime you are talking to, look, personally, the arguments that I've been like, would you want your daughter? The fuck? What are you talking about? They use it as a way to try to disarm you, and they're not even answering the question. They're trying to like. That's how you know you got them. When they bring up your daughter, they bring up your kids in general, or they bring up your mom. That's when they realize like, oh, I can't answer this question, so I need to deflect.
This is further proof that 9 times out of 10 TR women's intuition is nonsense. When you're dealing with these women who out here like that, I don't want to assume she has a high body count, but I could probably assume it's greater than 1 or 2, right?
Greater than 10.
Probably even more so, but we just gonna leave it at 1 or 2 just for the sake of the point that I'm trying to make. So you dealt with other men before, and you're sitting here complaining about not getting the protection and the provision that you think you're entitled to. Is that more of a reflection on the men, or is that more of a reflection on your terrible ability to choose up and let the correct man enter you?
Well, you know what's, I think for some reason they think that especially if you like Cameron, I mean, obviously he got clout, he got money, so he can do more things. And what I think that what they're wanting is they want the still benefits out of it, but not just for their daughter. Like, you're supposed to be protecting me because I'm protecting my daughter. Well, he could just take his daughter. He can start staying with her then, because obviously she's gonna get the best loving care in that situation. I don't know if they got like a legal situation, custody issue, but that'd be the best situation.
If for the record, fellas, take note of how Cam is handling this situation, because this lady has already cut him off. He didn't respect the points that he was trying to make. But Cam is keeping it cool. He's not crashing out. He's not yelling at her. He's not calling her out of her name.
He has the high ground.
He's just sitting there with facts, which is how you should handle situations like this. Because you know how exes get down. They're going to insult you. It just comes with the territory.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Just make up your mind.
No, it's not about having sex with your daughter. It's about, that's what you would teach your daughter.
Oh, teach your daughter. I'm sorry.
She just having sex with a man that doesn't want to protect and provide for her. Like, what?
The problem is this: you want to protect.
You think men and women are equal?
No. What I'm trying to explain to you is this: for me, I rather invest in my female than give my female, and that's the problem.
You've never invested in me
because you had bad investments. That's why you're in nursing school. I'm trying to explain to you that the investments that you had weren't good.
That's not why I'm in nursing school. I've been working on my nursing degree since fucking 2019.
Why you don't have it yet?
I opened the business to help me get through nursing school.
Which was
I needed a passive income.
Which was a bad investment.
This song?
Right. Anyway.
That's a master class on how to deal with an ex. You just hit them with facts and stay calm. Then it's going to drive them crazy.
Yeah.
Every single time.
This is one of the situations. And Cam, I mean, he has the ability to, I mean, if you want to give her that $25,000, then so be it though. But that tells me, and Kevin Samuel said this a lot, you can't get better than your baby daddy. In most cases, you can't get better than your baby daddy. Try to get back with your baby daddy or wait till your kid ages out. That's gonna be the situation, and that protection and any additional benefits in most cases, it's going to come with some strings. So if you want all that, then he's going to want something back if he wants to. He doesn't. I mean, Cam can have anybody. He rap dude, and he got a successful podcast. So I don't know, man. A lot of times with the women, I thought it was crazy that she's going on there trying to ask him for a loan, and she has that type of mentality and attitude towards him. So you would never do this for a bank, or you're trying to get a loan for somebody. They would do it to anybody, but they won't do it to the person that can actually give them the money.
This is further proof, TR, that men understand love better than women do.
Yeah.
The entire time in that clip, we didn't even extend it out. We just did the shorter version. But the entire time in that clip, she was talking about what was owed to her, what she should have, and what she's entitled to. She never at one time talked about what she provided to that relationship. Not one single time. We know Cam gave her a loan. We know Cam had her down through a couple of investments that were quote unquote bad investments. She never once mentioned what she did for him. And this is the problem when you're dealing with self-centered women.
Yeah. This is one of those things where it's a learning lesson for a lot of men. Sometimes you don't even realize this stuff until you're a little bit older. You're like, oh yeah, I do a lot for so many women and they don't do anything for me. So yeah. That's a good masterclass one. We got one more video here to kind of discuss, and it's going to be courtesy of Anton Daniels and Myron Gaines. Anton is definitely all over the place on YouTube, so it just makes sense to kind of have a conversation, though. But this is one of those conversations where a lot of people do not like. I mean, I don't know a lot of people know who any of these two guys are, but for the most part, Myron Gaines is a former I think he said Homeland Security. It's HSI is what I put down, but I know he was like some type of special agent for the United States, though. And so he has a very good insight on this type of conversation, regardless how you feel about everything else related to, you know, the Fresh and Fit podcast. I thought this was a good dialogue between them. So let's listen.
What do you guys think is like the biggest are we going to talk about the legality of it? What is the biggest, I guess, disagreement, if there's
I think
any?
that the biggest conversation that's being had right now is whether or not the guy actually had to die, right? Whether or not they were justified in taking out Alex Petti as a result of the confrontation, especially discovering, you know, all of the new information, all of the new angles and everything that you know is associated with that whole situation with ICE agents over in Minneapolis. Yes. And so we kind of divided. Some people are divided, some people on one side, some people on the other side.
All right, so I'll talk about it, just the legality of the shoot. Now, before I say what I'm going to say, I know I'm going to have a lot of sense of people that get mad, but we're here to talk about facts and not feelings. So the facts of the matter is it's a justified shoot, and I'll explain why. People need to understand that when it comes to use of force in the United States, you're not judged on what's called 20/20 hindsight. You're judged at what were the facts known to you at the time that the use of force was conducted, right? So in this case, I think it's important that people understand that Alex Petti, right, and same thing with Renee Good, they were there to interfere with an immigration operation, right. Okay? They were there to impede. That's a felony, 18 U.S.C. 111. You can look it up. Impeding a federal officer from their duties and or assault.
And MC, how many times have we seen people that are just fucking with the police, regular police, and they just get arrested? And these guys are messing with ICE agents. They get in their faces, spitting on them. Another video just came out, and they don't discuss in this video, but another video came out where it appears to be Alex Petti spitting on a ICE agent vehicle and then also kicking the tail light out. And he had his firearm on him. Like
11 days ago. 11 days ago that happened.
Yeah. So I don't even understand how people think this is normal. This guy isn't unhinged. If a guy just did this if he was doing this shit to his girlfriend, they would have locked him up. They would have been like, protection order, and you're going to jail, and you're going to anger management. 10 times out of 10, that's exactly what's happening. But when it comes to ICE agents, yeah, you know, I understand this is because of Trump, so you really can't blame him or blah, blah, blah. Again, would you want this motherfucker in your house? Would you want this person courting your daughter? They try to paint this guy as like, you know, didn't do nothing, but this guy was unhinged. This guy was out of his damn mind. He wanted some type of interaction with the ICE agents. And what led up to it, honestly though, I gotta say, the guy, both of them should not have been there, the Renee Good, but he purposely put himself between some woman that the ICE agents, you can make the case, maybe they should not push her down. She was in the way. If you are a guy and you're in the way, you're getting pushed down. So equal rights equals left. But he went over to try to be a captain, save a hoe, and then he got hemmed up. How come we ain't heard from the woman that was right next to him when he got Swiss cheesed? We ain't heard anything from this woman at all. She was right there. And from what I've been hearing, he was saving her life. I don't know what, saving her from what, but we haven't heard one damn thing from this woman that was right there when he got Swiss cheese, because he was saving her. This is why I tell men, look, y'all pick and choose when y'all want to be heroes. He did that, and now he's in a box.
It's just really funny that organizations like ICE were applauded to the point where, was it Tom Homan is his name? Wasn't he nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize under the Obama administration?
I forgot
And
what
it's
award.
not like
one of those.
He won some type of award. It might not have been the Peace Prize, but he won some award.
Yeah.
But the point is, ICE was
the
established in
presidential
2000.
medal.
The presidential medal under the Obama administration.
Yeah.
So ICE was established in 2003, TR, and I've done it. I looked at their website and I've looked at their priorities and goals. They really haven't changed much since 2003.
Yeah, it's the same one.
The first question I ask myself is, why is this a problem now?
Yeah.
Is it because the TDS, or do they actually have a valid reason to be pissed off about this stuff?
Yeah, 100%
So,
TDS.
Let's deep dive in that a little bit more, because I started talking to some liberal folks that I know, and a lot of them held the position that ICE is not law enforcement and shouldn't be respected as such. So now the question is, how do you believe that? What substantiation do you have to support something like that? They're under the executive branch of government. They have funding that's been approved time and time again.
By both sides.
By both sides. So what is your justification for saying that they are not law enforcement? Crickets. No answer.
Only white liberals do stuff like this. Black people, whether you're pro-black or whether you're independent or conservative, you all know when it comes to fucking with them boys, the alphabet boys, you don't want to mess with them because you know what could happen.
Right. And as a man, most men have lines that if you cross this line, you might get a crash out. It might go down. Now, some men's lines are easier to identify than others. And to me, if that line is easily crossable or identifiable, that makes you a weak man and it makes you a liability to society. So all of you men that are talking to us crazy and basically not substantiating anything that you're saying, I view you as a joke. I don't take you seriously. And you are encouraging other people to put themselves in danger for a battle that they can't win.
Nope.
You're not going to, unless you're trying to change the laws. That is the only hope that you have, is to get politically active and change the laws on what ICE's authority is and what protections illegal immigrants have. But you want to play this game where you want to go out here and disrespect law enforcement and kick cars and spit on people and shame other people that's not doing the same thing. Oh, and by the way, they're doxing people too.
Yeah.
We talked about that. The reason why they're wearing masks is because y'all are taking pictures of them and y'all are getting their home addresses and y'all harassing their families and kids. And I'm telling you right now, I don't want anything to do with that. If you give me a valid reason to protest, it better be a valid one though. But what y'all been giving us so far has not been good reason.
Yeah, and we're also seeing reports, if you look like you're an ICE officer, they are trying to dox you and harassing people. So if somebody says, hey, there's ICE agents at this place and this is what these people look like, it's turning into the Salem witch trials. Yeah. These people are just completely unhinged and they're not getting arrested because a lot of these prosecutors back in 2020, what a lot of people didn't realize, there were a lot of people that were arrested, but they were not charged. The prosecutors did not charge any of the majority of those people. And in some cases, they paid them out damages because they said they hurt their head or something. Like, this is the thing that we're running into, is like, I feel bad for those blue states, or at least the people that are conservative and the people that have nothing generally to do with this. But this is who you're voting for, and your leadership is leading you guys down the wrong road. Because I'm surprised there's only been 2 shootings. Honestly, the way that these people have been wilding out, honestly, I feel like there'd be more involved where they had to unholster their weapon.
The Border Patrol agent grabs, he's dealing with one of these
here's
hecklers.
Something that might surprise you a little bit, TR, and I'm pulling this from.
You there, MC?
Hold on, pause it real quick, TR. I think, yeah. What percentage of ICE employees
you're lagging. You're lagging.
You think are Hispanic or Latino?
You're lagging.
Tess, can you hear me?
Lagging.
I think I was about to make a good point. Okay, I'm lagging a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, here, let me figure this out. Go ahead and play the video.
pushes the woman, and then Alex Petti puts his hand on him. As soon as he did that, that was a big mistake because you're armed, you're touching a federal agent, you're committing a felony, and as soon as you do that, you forfeit almost all your rights and privileges at that point because now they're going to detain you. And he pepper sprays him, he resists, they get him down to the ground. One of the other Border Patrol agents disarms him. Before they disarm him, they say gun, gun, gun. Now, this is common training, right, in law enforcement, where if you see a gun or you observe a gun, whether the person is armed or they pull the gun out, whatever it may be, you're going to say gun because obviously all the other people need to know that, right? Law enforcement can rely upon the observations of their partners, okay? So that means I don't have to see the gun myself, but if I hear my partner say gun, that it means that it's credible because I'm going to rely on their training as well. So what they didn't know, though, the person that shot the gun, was he didn't know that he disarmed the individual. And when he disarmed the individual and he walked away, this gun, the 6 hour that they disarmed from him, is notorious for accidental discharges, right?
I didn't know that.
The gun goes off, unbeknownst to the other Border Patrol agents that are trying to, get this guy under control, get him in handcuffs. They think that it might have been the gun that he had. Keep in mind, he's going like this, reaching for his right-hand side. That's what the officer sees that shoots him. The officer that shot him from his left-hand side. The guy was right-handed, and he was moving his hand like this. So if your body is bladed, right? Like you guys can see me right here on camera, and I'm getting shot from this side, but you can see me going like this, and my partner's already yelled gun, right? A reasonable person would say, oh, he's reaching for someone. Keep in mind, they don't know that the gun was disarmed off the individual. They just heard the gunshot, and they see this.
MC back.
Yeah, I should be cool now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. Let me go back to the point I was about to make before you played that video. USA Today did an article on this, and I think y'all should check it out just for a different type of learning. So about 45 to 50% of all ICE employees are Hispanic or Latino. And I think you should read the article that I just posted in the chat because they asked them why are they doing this, and do they feel like they are traitors to their people by doing this? And a lot of them, TR, said, legally, I came here legally. I did what I was supposed to do. And the U.S. law says you cannot come here unless it's through a point of entry. The first time you do it, it's a misdemeanor. And any other time after that, it escalates into a felony. So from their perspective, they come here, they love this country, they do what they got to do, and they follow in their mind, they're following the laws.
Right.
It's the same argument that all the other conservatives make. So again, my question is, a lot of these, and let's be honest, as white liberals, they're standing 10 toes down on this argument that they're helping their Hispanic brothers and sisters. And I'm telling you, it on the outside looking in, it appears that you're giving them something that they're not even asking for.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it is crazy, if it is for illegal immigrants, I don't see, for the most part, I don't see those people getting in the faces of a lot of the ICE agents. It's people that look like Alex Petti, and it's 100% people that look like Renee Good. They look like they don't shave. Well, Renee, I mean, they have a certain look to them, and I can always point them out. Everybody wants to like Alex Petti was this, this stand-up guy, and he really wasn't. Like I said, I don't have the video to show him crashing out previously though, but this guy is really unhinged. And if he did this was a DV situation, everybody, I mean, we've seen football players crash out doing like stuff to their, going to a DV situation, and they have been arrested. Like, and there's no questions about it. They get arrested, and everybody says, oh, you're a POS, you hit a woman, blah, blah, blah. And then that's the end of it. But when it comes to ICE agent, when it comes to like Petti, when it comes to Renee Good, when it comes to other ICE agents that have been assaulted, these people act like these people are not human. And that's why they keep using the terminology, call them, Yahtzees, calling them a Gestapo, call them the mustache guy. They continue using that type of rhetoric so you can dehumanize them. But we can't use any of that rhetoric to dehumanize anybody else. If we were to do that with like maybe like the rainbow folks, I mean, we would get flagged. We would get flagged. YouTube would step in, like, because you're dehumanizing, you're bullying, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to like the ICE agents, oh, hey, open season, no big deal. We don't have to worry about it. These people, these are all Americans. They have to go home to their families. Some of them are new to the job. Some of them have been on the job for a while. And for some reason, people just think these people are less than. And it's like the craziest thing, too, because these are the same ICE agents you said earlier that were involved with the Obama administration. I actually didn't realize that Bush had created the ICE agent department. So that's something new to me. And it's been around. I didn't realize it's been around that long. I knew with Obama, but it goes back, predates Obama.
Yeah, and convenient and selective outrage strikes again.
Yeah, 100%.
A reasonable person would believe he's armed, he's reaching for the gun, or the gun might have already went off. Something's going on, and they shot. Now, all these things that I talked about, gun being disarmed, the gun going off as accidental discharge, none of that matters. Okay? And this is what progressives don't understand. None of that matters because that's all in 2020 hindsight. What matters is simply this. What did the Border Patrol agent know that pulled the trigger at the time he pulled the trigger?
Right.
And a reasonable person, because he's going to be judged on, was it reasonable? A reasonable person, given those facts and circumstances, could be led to believe that, okay, he shot because this guy was armed. He heard a gunshot. He didn't know if the gunshot was from that gun or not. And he saw his arm going like this. Clean shoot. We're not here to debate the morality. I'm not here to debate the morality. Was it right or wrong or any of that other stuff? I'm here to say that it's going to be justified.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to stop it there. That's kind of want to have the conversation. That's probably the bulk of it. So, I mean, what are your thoughts for what Myron had said regarding it was a clean shoot and then what he based it on?
I'm a gun owner, TR, and I have a concealed carry, so none of this is a surprise to me. It's all about you have an elevated responsibility to use your judgment and to recollect everything that happened that caused you to draw your firearm. If the cop said that he heard a gunshot, his partner confirmed that he heard a gunshot, and they saw he was reaching.
Yeah.
I think anybody would have drawn the same conclusion. And again, it sucks that this happened, but one of the first things you have to know as a gun person is you have to assess how safe you are. Because you know if you pull that thing and you let it go, and law enforcement has qualified immunity as a form of protection, but the average everyday person does not. So it's even more so a judgment call for us. You got to know if your life is in danger or not before you escalate that.
MC, one more thing.
Yeah.
And your license to carry, he didn't have his ID on him or his license to carry.
That might not, depending on the state, that might not be a big deal. I have to look into what Minnesota's laws are.
Well,
but
what I've heard is Minnesota, that is a crime.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me because Minnesota, they like to call themselves purple, but they're blue. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, and I didn't even need Myron to kind of break it down, but it, gives me, hearing somebody from law enforcement or former law enforcement speak on this, it tells you that there's a lot of stuff that goes on because even with like the videos that were popping up, back like when they started the BLM and, all the way up to 2020, I was like, you got to see you got to pinch the whole video. If the cop messed up, I'll call it down the middle. Actually, did you remember the story where the cop, he had water thrown on him? He was talking to this black chick. He just got sentenced to 20 years.
Right.
He overreacted and he drew his weapon and he ended up, he deleted that woman and he was arrested. He was promptly arrested. Then we had the Scorpion unit in Tennessee. We still don't know anything about that story, just other than the guy may have been talking to one of the police officers. You remember the Scorpion unit, the people, the black police officers that beat the shit out of that other black dude in Tennessee?
Yeah, that was in Memphis. Yeah, and before they were talking about Sonia Massey.
Yeah. So those are two situations where the police officers were arrested, and I think half of the Scorpion unit has been charged or have been sentenced. But I mean, when it's one of those situations, I mean, the system is working. And so I know about these other situations, and sometimes like I think it could go 50-50, honestly though. But what this guy, Petti, he put himself in the wrong situation. He could have been shot earlier this month. He should have been arrested because you are damaging taxpayer property. And he thinks that's like and he doesn't get arrested. What I thought was really weird is that the ICE they went pretty lenient on him because when he kicked their car, they rushed him. I just don't understand. And this is the other thing too. If you about that fucking life, why are you running? That's what I don't understand. He tried to run from the ICE agents when they got out of the car. Why are you running if this is what you're about? If this is what the hill you want to die on, why are you running? That's why I don't understand. And
this is how bad the ICE situation is getting, and we probably should have. I want to acknowledge this a little bit. There were some people perpetrating as Black Panthers, talking about going up there and bringing the smoke to ICE. And Huey Newton's niece, she was the first person to jump online and say, "No, this is not us. This is not our fight. These people are not Black Panthers." And people got to call this stuff out, man, because people can just claim anything and make stuff escalate even more.
Yeah.
But again, man, we are living in some crazy times right now. We got to start thinking, and I get it. Our system's not perfect, but it's by far the best one that the world has to offer, if I'm being honest. And if you want proof, the lead attorney, TR, you rock with and I rock with. I watch his show every other day now. He always does case studies, and you'll be surprised at how many times people get arrested for stuff and they don't serve time. Like
Right.
they like these judges will let them out. I literally watched a case where a woman stole from 3 different Walmarts. They caught her, they arrested her. 3 Walmarts, and it was more than $15,000 worth of merchandise. So it was a felony at this point.
Yeah.
He served 0 days in jail. 0.
Yeah.
So for every one of these we show, lead attorney balances it out. It shows the other side where these reoccurring criminals keep doing the same things and they never serve time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll wrap this up. Yeah, it's crazy. It's getting crazy. And it's sad that I see people that I was friends with going down this path, just crashing out. Like, you don't have to put everything on there. Maybe you can put like, hey guys, let's bring down the temperature. Let's make sure that especially people that I've gone to church with, like, I'm not trying to play the church card by any means. It's just that it's weird that you have this type of energy on these topics. But yeah, like I said, it is what it is. I'm sure we'll have more discussions on it though. So last words, MC?
Yep, if you're a liberal dude, I just want you to know that your wife dominates you. she tells you what to do and you just say yes. And then she goes off and then she messes around with you on a guy who's conservative. And she acts like she's disgusted by it. But what she's really disgusted by is how much of a pushover you are.
Hey, testosterone is rising in that community.
Good luck.
All right. See you, everybody.
Peace.